How's it going, everyone? Some major news dropped late yesterday that is certainly worrying some PlayStation gamers, and I don't really understand why. Actually, I can understand why. We put so much emphasis on exclusives, and growing up, the idea of a game being exclusive was a very big selling point to a console, and certainly as I was growing up, 2009, 2010, 2011, in the heyday of the Xbox 360 versus PlayStation 3 war, which I think was the most toxic war in console gaming history that I've experienced when I look at PS3 versus 360, PS4 versus X1, PS5 versus Series. PS3 versus X360 was insane. However, I would also say it was one of the best because both sides actually had a lot of compelling arguments, and Xbox 360 had a great lineup of games, especially when you go to like 2007, 2008, 2009, and PlayStation 3, while it started off weak, built up in its exclusive offerings, but now I wouldn't say exclusives are meaningless, far from it. However, you have a publisher like Microsoft and Xbox Game Studios bringing all of their games to PC day one, and now PlayStation, something that I really didn't expect them to do ever, is bringing their games to PC. And when I say ever, I mean going back to like 2013, 2014. Playing Last of Us 1 on the PlayStation 3. Never did I think that game would be available on PC, but lo and behold, in the year 2024, it is available, and obviously, PlayStation has had a significant delayed window with their PC releases. With the release of Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, it was 2 years, and generally 2 years around that range has been the minimum. God of War Ragnarok just dropped on PC, and that turnaround time was 22 months, and that was the shortest amount of time for a brand new PlayStation title arriving to PC. That's excluding games like Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, that's day one, live service games like Helldivers 2 and Concord, and games such as A Last of Us Part 1 that was more of a remake remaster than rather a brand new release. However, God of War Ragnarok's turnaround time is about to be broken as Marvel's Spider-Man 2 arrives on PC in January of 2025. Yes, a 15-month turnaround time, which these turnaround times are getting shorter and shorter, and that is certainly causing some concern for PlayStation-only guys saying, hey, why did I buy a PlayStation? The value proposition of my PlayStation console is now lessening and lessening, and I think that is totally the wrong way to go about things. But as the post does note on the PlayStation blog, which I won't go over it all too deep, Marvel Spider-Man 2 is officially coming to PC, announced on Marvel stage at New York Comic-Con today. Our latest entry in the critically acclaimed Marvel Spider-Man franchise arrives on PC January 30th, 2025. Once again, we are happy to share the PC version is being developed and optimized by our friends at Nixon Software. They are incredibly talented, and what is interesting is that they had also confirmed in this blog post that there are no plans for Marvel Spider-Man 2 story-based DLC. The PC version will come with all the post-game updates, but as far as story-based DLC goes, that is not going to be happening. Hopefully, we still get that rumored Marvel's Venom game as a standalone Miles Morales style title, and I think we will be getting that. Given the success of Miles Morales and how well that game did, I do think Marvel's Venom will be coming to fruition, and I do think that'll probably be a late 2025, early 2026 game, and, you know, I just think that makes all the sense in the world, especially how successful Miles Morales was. However, again, a lot of cause for concern as far as Spider-Man 2 now making this quick turnaround time. You guys, I really don't think it's that big of a deal. When I talk about PlayStation and their first-party output, it's not necessarily me just talking about exclusives. It's me talking about them utilizing their first-party studios to the best of their abilities to drop high-quality games. In my opinion, if I was Sony, and maybe I'm wrong about this, and this is certainly a debatable point, I would drop the PlayStation exclusives Marvel Spider-Man 2, God of War Ragnarok, Ghost of Yotai, day one on PC. I wouldn't even wait. I think there's this monetization avenue that you could have on PC that is very much lessened when you do have a delayed release. However, I understand from Sony's thought process, they are very much about getting you into their ecosystem. That is their ultimate goal, and you still see that on PC now, where they've baked in the necessity of linking your PlayStation Network account. I just wish that PlayStation Network was available in every region. Because of the PlayStation Network account linking requirement, they're actually unable to sell games like God of War Ragnarok in a lot of different regions, and it's stifling the success of these games on PC. But again, it's about drawing you into their ecosystem. The money that they make on these PC releases is a very nice amount of revenue, but ultimately, if they could have everybody on PlayStation 5 buying all of their games on PlayStation 5, buying PlayStation Plus subscriptions, that's what they want to do. That is the advantageous position every publisher wants to be. If they could have their own ecosystem that they could bring people into, they would do that. That's why the live service model is so attractive. You're bringing people into an ecosystem, a living ecosystem that is a live service. That's why so many publishers have been chasing that. However, I am of the belief that the PC and console audiences are very distinct. I know that there's this competition, and oh my god, you can get a PC for $700. Why would you buy the PS5 Pro? Again, I really do think it's a distinct audience, and I don't even want to get into the argument, oh my god, you'll make your money back on the PC on the back end with PlayStation Plus and not being a requirement, you'll get free online, which I do believe is the case. I can totally break down the PC versus console argument, but however, I do really just believe at the end of the day, the argument doesn't serve any purpose, because I really do believe, for the most part, there is a distinct audience. Is there a crossover? Sure. Are some people gonna be pushed towards, after playing Spider-Man 2, once Spider-Man 3 drops, if it's a 1-year timed exclusive, 2-year timed exclusive on PlayStation 6 or 5, will they pick up a PS5? Will they buy that game on PS5? Maybe, but remember, that's not even the type of consumer that Sony ultimately wants on their PS5. Yeah, it's nice to sell some PS5s, but the idea of the PS5 is to bring people into that ecosystem, and then they really start raking in revenue once you're buying a lot of games and everything like that. I just don't think that's gonna happen with the PC audience. I think they'll wait. I think for the most part, either they'll wait to play the game on PC, or they won't play the game at all. And if they do buy the game on PlayStation 5 and they buy a PlayStation 5, they're coming in for that one experience, or maybe a couple of other exclusives that you'll drop, like true exclusives, and then they'll bounce right out. They're not going to be monetized. And I can say this from experience of knowing a lot of people that are primarily PC gamers, and this exact thing has happened, where they have a PlayStation 5, they'll come in, they'll play one game a year, but outside of that, it becomes like a Netflix machine. And do you really want a consumer like that? I know Sony, from an ideal standpoint, doesn't want that, but I just believe that, yes, we put this hyper focus on exclusives. I don't think that matters that much anymore. I think there is this distinct audience. I do think PC becomes an incredibly attractive place to play, especially if suddenly Microsoft is putting out a lot of big games, because PC is the spot that you can play Spider-Man 2, you can play God of War Ragnarok, and then you can turn around and also play Avowed, Gears of War E-Day, and Halo Infinite, and all these other games. So it's kind of a marriage of PlayStation content and Xbox content. I think that's incredibly attractive, but at the same time, you have to realize that from a console standpoint, a lot of people just pick up a console because it is budget oriented. I mean, you can get a base PlayStation 5 for $450, and rumor has it that it's going to be on sale for $375 during Black Friday. Can you pick up a $400 gaming PC? Sure, you can. Is it going to perform like the PlayStation 5 and work right out of the box? And is it going to be as easy as of a plug-and-play experience? It might at times, but at the same time, a $400 PS5 that's a plug-and-play, that's a very, very attractive option for a lot of people, especially a lot of people. I get it, you can hook up your computer to the TV. A lot of people just don't want to do that. The computer is in their office doing their task designed for their computer, and they want a console for the home living space. I just think that's where we're at, and I want Sony to obviously have a high-quality first-party output. I don't really care if they put their games on Xbox. I don't care if they put their games on the Nintendo Switch. I don't care if they put their games on PC. I want them to create as quality of a first-party rollout as they can. And if they want to add a monetization avenue with their PC releases, which is what they are doing and which is incredibly beneficial to them, because guys, these games are costing more and more money to make. Spider-Man 2 is not a cheap game. Uncharted, Last of Us, all of these, God of War, all of these franchises, they are not cheap games, and that's why you are seeing Sony go the route of remastering these games, because it's much cheaper to do that and trying to double dip and get some revenue on the PC sales, while at the same time using it as an avenue to try to entice people to go and pick up a PlayStation 5. Do I ultimately think that'll be effective? No, I don't. But I also do think PlayStation is always going to have a healthy audience that is playing their games on console, because the console experience is distinctly different from the PC experience. And if you really, in my humble opinion, if you want to get the most value out of a PC, yes, $400, $500 PCs exist, but you want to get all the bells and whistles, you are going to have to spend a little bit more. You're gonna have to go to the $800 range. I know that there was this deal I saw online recently where there was a $400 pre-built computer with an RTX 4060, and yes, that in a vacuum, that deal is insane. That deal wasn't available for long, and we can't use that as the standard of the deal that's regularly available, but I saw that deal and that was nuts. If you got a if that $400 PC was available regularly with an RTX 4060, I would say, everybody, the screw consoles, get that a 4060 PC if it's available. But for the most part, if you're building your own rig, you're gonna have to spend $800 to $1,000, in my opinion, to get the most bang for your buck in terms of performance. Like, getting to that $1,200 to $1,400 range, that's really ideal at this point. But the argument can also be made, as far as PC is concerned, the money comes back on the back end. Cheaper games, no online, pay-to-play online, etc., etc. I just think it's apples and oranges a lot of the time when you do compare PC versus console, and, you know, them bringing their games on PC, not a big deal. In fact, I would encourage it. I would say do more of it. I would say drop the games day one. But that is one aspect that I'm totally open-minded to, of being in the conversation of being in the wrong, because at that point, that I do think is going to push some people to PC. I just don't know how many, and I really do believe waiting a year to drop a lot of these games, yeah, waiting is fine for some people, but we've all seen it. A lot of the momentum on a game is on day one, is on week one. The year-long wait will hurt a lot of games. Look at Final Fantasy XVI's PC performance. It's doing fine, but I assure you that game would have been doing orders of magnitude better if it was available day one. Sparking Zero is cracking 120,000 players on PC, and you're talking Final Fantasy 16 a year after its initial release is, you know, having trouble cracking, like, what, 40K? I do believe Final Fantasy 16, if it came out day one on PC, it would be at the 120 to 150K range. I just believe that these games are have the most amount of momentum day one, and I don't think that's really arguable. Like, that's obvious. I think it's different in the case of live service games where you try to maintain that momentum and you try to have as many players at any given time. But as Spider-Man 2, the game comes out, you play it, it's out of the news cycle, people move on. Yeah, the PC release will surge up the interest a little bit, but nowhere near the initial release. That's why I would say, if you drop it initially, you're building on people talking about it on social media. The advertising is at its absolute pinnacle, and people are caught up on the hype, and that's really a lot of what gaming is. It's in that, where a lot of the times you are a prisoner of the moment, and in that moment, you really want to play a game based on the hype, the attention that's created. A year after its initial launch, a lot of that hype, a lot of that desire to play the game is mitigated, is lessened a little bit. That's why being patient, yes, it's great in theory, but a little bit harder to do in actual practice. But that's gonna do it for me. Again, I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are making it out to be. I still think, you know, PlayStation is going to offer its experience, and hopefully, like, what I want more than anything out of Sony and PlayStation these days is a high-quality first-party output. I could give a damn if it was exclusive or not. Put it on Xbox if you want. I don't care. I just want them to utilize their studios to the best of their abilities instead of sinking money into Concord, sinking money into Last of Us factions that get canceled, and so on and so forth. You know, benching Horizon, the single-player portion, to do a live service game, that's not, you know, I'm not a fan of that, but I digress. That's going to do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.